Okay, so welcome back. So from our previous class, I said successful communication between two systems, between two hosts, is breaking down into a concept called layers. Okay, communication between two systems is breaking down into step by step. They now call each step layers. Okay, so now these layers, they are 7. This step-by-step process that communication follows for two systems to communicate is breaking down into 7 layers. Okay, 7 steps, 7 layers. And these layers is what is called OSI layer model. OSI layer model. So we said we have application layer, we have a presentation layer, we have a session layer, we have a network layer, that's layer 4. Sorry, we have transport layer before network. We have transport, we have network, and we have data link layer, and we have physical layer. Okay, so now this is the 7 layer that communication follows for two systems to communicate. Okay. So now, also, you should know which layer a network device belongs to. You should know which network device operates in which layer. You should know which layer a switch belongs to, for instance. You should know which layer a router belongs to. Okay, so now, let's say we want to add another network. This is a network, for instance. This is a network. So let's say we want to add another network. That means we need the router. Agreed, right? So now let's say we connect another system. Let's call this C, and let's call this D. Okay, so now, see, this is another network. This is another network. And network 2, and this is network 1. So now, you should know that from here by now that what our router is doing is just locating network, is just connecting network. That means it is dealing with IP address. Okay, from my explanation about difference between IP address and MAC address, I call IP address street, your street name, if you remember, and I call a host number as your house number. Okay, so now so this is like a street, this is another street. So what IP address is doing, what a router is doing is it is just locating network. It's just locating network using IP address to know where a particular network is. So in that regard, router is dealing with, is in layer 3, because when we talk of IP address, we are talking about layer 3. That means router is an example of devices in layer 3. A router is a layer 3 device. Also, a switch, you will notice that it is the switch that is the closest to the host, meaning it is the one forwarding traffic to the host using their MAC address. Like I said MAC address is just like a name, person's name that doesn't change. Okay, let's say this host C, this system C is MAC address is Daniel. It is the switch that is calling, who is Daniel? Okay, Daniel, this is your message. This is the switch that is forwarding message, okay, based on MAC address. Okay, based on MAC address, the switch that is forwarding message to the connected devices based on MAC address. That means switch this with MAC address. This with MAC address. And which layer do we talk about MAC address? That's layer 2. That's layer 2. So a switch is an example of a device used in layer 2. Used in layer 2. So now, what is the connection between this system C and the switch? It is maybe through cable, maybe through a cable or through wireless, for instance. That means this cable that is used for connection, okay? Because we said it is at the physical layer that we now put data on the road for the dispatch rider to go through the road, maybe through road or through air or whatever means of delivery. So the means of communication, which we call transmission media and networking, it can be cable, it can be wireless. That transmission media falls under layer 1. At layer 1 is where we have transmission media. Okay, it can be cable, it can be all these RJ45 connectors, all these plug, all these face plates at the wall, at the wall of an office. Face plate where you plug your cables. Okay, so all of these are in layer 1. Are in layer 1. Like I said, the purpose of OSI layer model is for we network professionals to be able to split into layers, to be able to pinpoint where an issue is. For instance, if the cable between Daniel and the switch is broken, okay, that means you have layer 1 problem in this network. There is layer 1 problem. There is layer 1. There is no point. Okay, let's say the cable is broken. Cable of Daniel to the switch is broken. And let's call this person Ali. So Ali is complaining of not being able to reach Daniel. Okay, no, okay, so now there is no point of finding fault or trying to troubleshoot around this place. There is no point because the cable is broken. You need to go and figure out what is making traffic not to get to where the router is. Okay, that means you need to go and fix this cable. You need to make sure that this cable is functioning. That means that is layer 1 problem. Okay, that is layer 1 problem. So which means after you have fixed layer 1 problem, then you can now move to layer 2. Okay, let's say the cable is okay now. The cable is okay now. And that means it's left for the switch to forward traffic to the router. It now happens that traffic is not getting to the router. Then you should go and fix what is making this switch not to forward traffic to the router. That means you need to fix layer 2 problem in that regard. That will be layer 2 problem. That will be layer 2 problem. Okay, because this switch is operating at layer 2, where we have MAC address and all of that. Okay, there is no point of coming to this switch or coming to Ali that starts disconnecting cable or touching this switch. There is no point. Go and fix what is happening at layer 2. So if layer 2 is okay, let's say layer 2 is okay, is fine, then you can now move to layer 3, which is the router, to go and see what is happening with IP address and all of that. Maybe there was an incorrect IP address on the router, or there is this particular features that is not configured correctly. Okay, so you troubleshoot a network in layers. A network in layers. So the purpose of OSI layer is to make this troubleshooting easy for you. Okay, so there is another device called layer 3 switch. Layer 3 switch. So layer 3 switch is a type of switch that has the capability to operate in both layer 2 and layer 3. Okay, it can act That means it can act as a router and it can act as a layer 2 switch. Okay, so let's say this our example. We bring a layer 3 switch in. We bring a layer 3 switch in. That means we can change this to layer 3 switch. That means you can change this to a layer 3 switch. A layer 3 switch. So now in this regard, another example of network layer devices is a layer 3 switch. Is a layer 3 switch. So layer 3 switch is another example of a network layer device. Okay, like I said, layer 3 switch can deal with IP address and it can also forward based on MAC address and all of that. Okay, so as a network professional, you should know which layer a device belong, which layer a device belong. So another point you should take note is that a computer, a system operates at all the layers, at all the layers, at all the layers. So let's say you bring a cable and you plug it to this system, system A and system B. Okay, system where we operate at application layer, presentation, session, transport, network, data link, and physical. Okay, let's say you want to send a picture through a network cable or through Bluetooth, for instance. You want to send a picture through Bluetooth. So an application layer, we identify that we identify which protocol are you using to send the file. Maybe you want to send music, or let's say you want to send music, for instance. Okay, so it's a file. That music is a file. So application layer, we can say we are using FTP. Okay, depending on their negotiation, which protocol they want to use, both of them. So it can be FTP. Presentation layer, we come up with the format of that music. We said we encrypt the music. Maybe the music is in MP3 format or MPEG. Okay, MPEG. Okay, MP4 is for video. So maybe the music is MP3. Presentation layer, we encrypt it in that format, MP3 format. Session layer, we keep this session, okay, in case another communication wants to take place between the two systems. So transport layer, we identify the port number of FTP, which is 21. Okay, so that when the music gets here, they can easily know the destination. So IP address, at network layer, your system we get the IP address of B. System A, we get the IP address of B. Okay, all this happens automatically. You can't see it. Okay, they all happens automatically. Once you open your Bluetooth, all these things take place where you can't see it. So at the data link layer is where your system we find out the MAC address of the destination where it is sending the music to. Then at the physical layer is when the retransmission takes place. Okay, the retransmission takes place. Okay, this music is being broken to 101000. Like we said, what computer understands is 0 and 1. So this music will be in form of bits and it will be transported through the Bluetooth, blah, 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 blah. And when the system receives it, it will start from its own physical layer too. Okay, go through the same process. Data link till it reach application layer. Then you can now start accessing the music, maybe through your boom player or through your VSC player. From there, you'll be fine. Okay, so a system operates in all the layers. In all the layers, okay? Because your system has a Bluetooth, a cable will be connected to it, even at layer 1. Okay, so take note of that. A system operates at all the layers. So let's talk about encapsulation and de-encapsulation. So let me explain what you can come across that and you'll be like, what's the meaning of this? So now let's say this is the sender, you are the sender, and your friend is the receiver, right? Agreed. So now we said you as the sender, whatever you want to send, we begin from application layer down to physical layer. Okay, that means this arrow face downward. This arrow face downward. So you begin by identify the protocol, session, making encrypting it in the format that the system will understand, that the user will understand, attaching session ID, the transport layer, identify the port number, adding IP at the network layer, identify the MAC address and carrying out error check, then put it on the physical media. So now, when it gets to this end, we begin in a reverse manner. So here, we have, it will also receive on physical, data link, network, transport, session, presentation, and application. So this process by which the sender begin the communication process at application, presentation, session, transport, network, down to physical. Okay, this process is called encapsulation. Okay, the process through which the sender prepare a message or prepare a data for transportation through the transmission media. Okay, that process that it went through the OSI layer model is called encapsulation. Encapsulation. Okay, so what your system or your phone, whereby you are the sender, what you are doing while you identify the protocol, you are adding the format of the music, adding the session ID, down the stack, down the OSI layer model like this, what you are doing is encapsulation. And the process through which your friend, which is the receiver, through which he receives that music on its physical layer, maybe on his cable, on his wireless, on a Bluetooth, then pass it to the data link to check if the message is for him, then pass it to the network layer to see if the IP is correct, maybe they are in the right street. They're in the right street, and transport layer checking for the port number of the application, so that you can easily tell the application layer what the file represents. All this process as it goes up, okay, is called the encapsulation. The encapsulation. Okay, so encapsulation takes place at the sender side, while decapsulation takes place at the receiver side. The encapsulation. Okay, to interpret the process through which the receiver starts opening the message, to interpret, okay, to bring it up the OSI layer so that the system can finally have access to the file, or the end user can finally have access to the file. That process is called the de-encapsulation. Okay, while the process through which the sender was packaging the message, preparing it for sending purpose. Okay, preparing it to be sent on the network is called encapsulation. Okay, so that is encapsulation and de-encapsulation. So as the communication continues, each of the layer synchronize. They synchronize with one another. Physical synchronize with physical, data synchronize with physical, network synchronize with network, transport synchronize with transport, session synchronize with session. Okay, they both synchronize. That synchronization is called data encapsulation. Okay, data encapsulation. So encapsulation takes place here, while the encapsulation takes place here.